the last winning trade that I needed to get the second ever payout. I lost it and it hurt so bad. It hurt so bad. I can tell you it did really hurt so much. And right now I would say I'm a bit over the loss because it happened today. Yes, actually it happened today. I'm a bit over that loss, but the worst part of it was taking that loss or seeing that particular trade go against me and knowing that this thing can actually go back and hit me out. So the reason why this thing hurts me a lot, and if you've been on this channel, you know that for a while now I've been taking so many losses and all that, but it never really hurt me that much. But this one was different. It was different because this particular trade would have put me up for another payout. Yes. So this video is going to actually have a lesson with it, and it's something I'm also learning as well. And that's what I do on this channel. Whatever I learn, I do pull up the camera and come and talk about it. Whether if it's something I experienced a few years ago and I remember exactly how I overcame it in trading, I do come up here and share it. So I've mentioned here on this channel particularly, I have reached that level where I am able to multiply money. Yes, in Forex, I've reached that level and I'm very proud of it. It has taken me 4 years. It took me 4 years to actually get to this level. But then, why is it that this loss really hurts me that much? Am I not supposed to be emotionally strong at this point? Since I have reached that level where I can multiply money, I can make money from trading, why is it hurting? Shouldn't this be a normal thing for me? Shouldn't it be like other losing trades? But the thing behind it is that I had expectations. And I'll get to a point where I'll say this is bad, but as well you cannot really escape it no matter what level you are in trading. So this expectation is what really made me feel this bad about this loss, because I was watching the trade throughout the day and I think I held this for about 24 hours. Yes, I held this for 24 hours plus. So I've been watching the trade throughout and I've seen that it just kept going in my direction, and the more it kept going in my direction, it gave me more hope that this thing is going to hit TP. Whenever it does a little retracement, I start thinking, will this thing be going against me? But then it goes back and break the next lower low. Yes, it goes down to break the next lower low because it's a sell position. So once it breaks the next lower low, more hope, more expectation that I'm going to get that payout. It retraces, I lose hope, I start losing hope, and then it breaks the next low, and then there's more confidence. And then eventually it got to a point where this trade went very close to my take profit, and exactly from that moment, I wasn't even on that chart. Exactly from that moment, that trade started retracing and went back about 50% to where my take profit was at. So at that point now, I did not know what to do. I was still hopeful because for the fact that it has created a lower low close to my take profit, my expectations would be that it should go and break the lower low and hit my take profit immediately, just as it has been happening the whole time. So the expectation now is for it to break and hit my take profit, and finally I can request that payout. But then price started reacting, and even also in these bad conditions, the moment when it was at that 50% to my take profit, that was when a candle, I'll say a Trump candle, if you'll be trading this period, you know that this thing has been happening. You just see a random push from nowhere, no news from Forex Factory, you just see a random push. And then I got that pushed straight against me and it went straight to my entry. At that point, that was when the fear got higher. The fear was, at this point, the hope was, if the hope was at 50% that this could go and hit my take profit, that hope had dropped at that point down to 10%. Because how can you tell me I've been watching this trade for the whole about 20 hours plus, and then few hours to 24 hours of holding that trade would just give a very strong push back to my entry. And this is just the trade I've been expecting it should get me that payout I'm looking for. So when it got to my entry, it still reversed back with speed. That same speed it got to my entry, it reversed back to with speed back to around 1-to-1 risk to reward again, which is 50% close to my take profit. But at that point, the hope wasn't still there anymore, because at that point I had lost hope. How can you tell me I've been watching the trade break lower lows and getting hopeful, and then at this point it just reverses back to my entry and it's looking as if it's coming back to go and hit my take profit again? I don't think it wants to do that. And one thing I understand about the market is that after a selling phase, a buying phase will come. So I felt, since there is a reversal at this point, it has broken all those structures, it just kept creating to the downside. Even this retracement I'm seeing from this entry does not mean this trade would want to go to hit my take profit. Even though if it hits that take profit, that is when I would like it, but it didn't. But it's something that it didn't. Yes, it did not go to hit that take profit. So the hope just went down, and then from that 50% level it continued going back up. And most of the time in trading, you know that when there is a direction and price creates a very strong wick in that direction, eventually goes to fill that wick as well. So I was even confident that price is going back to my entry again, and from my entry there is no two ways about it. Next is my stop loss. So when it got back to my entry, exactly at my entry, the hope there was just down to like 5%. At this point, I have gotten so uncomfortable and so tired and so hot that even at a point where I know I can still multiply money in trading, I started doubting myself, started doubting the system I was trading. But here's what kept me, and what is going to keep me from changing my system and taking any emotional decisions, and that is meditation. So based on my own experience, I've seen that most of the times for my whole 4 years of trading, this thing has been happening. This is not the first time where I place a trade, I have an expectation on that trade, I have an expectation that it should hit my take profit, and when I lose, there is this kind of lack of confidence that starts to develop in that system. But I have been able to reach to a point where that lack of confidence that comes when I lose a trade, I've been able to reduce how I react to it and would want to change my system. So now when I take a loss, I do not rush to say I want to go and change my system. And what I do is that when my trade is on, I keep meditating and tell myself that do not get attached to this trade. Because once you get attached to this trade, that is when, if you lose that trade, you would lose confidence in that system you're trading. Because once you get attached, you would feel entitled that the market has to give you this win at this particular time, and you and I know that that is not how trading actually works. That is not how it works. You don't come and say I want to get the win when I feel like it. No, the only thing you're meant to do is to continue executing your system long enough. So the moment you put your eyes, you stay on those charts and you're looking at it going in your direction, coming against you, already you are putting an expectation, and that expectation in your brain would want that expectation to be met. And when there is a failed expectation, it is going to hurt so bad, and you will start taking irrational decisions. So before I got to conquer this bad habit, what I would do is that after that expectation has not been met, I hit my stop loss. The next thing is that I want to go and study what really happened. What really happened? Is it my system? Because that's the first thing I'm going to blame. I'm going to blame the strategy. Definitely I'm going to blame that strategy. Even if I was just coming back from a 5 win in a row, I am still going to blame my strategy. I'm going to say this loss, I really should have won it. And worst part is when you see this is an A+ setup, it shouldn't fail. But A+ setups do fail. Every kind of setup do fail. So that expectation now is what you want to be met, and if it doesn't get met, you would start taking irrational decisions if you have not reached a level where you can control your emotions. The next thing you will want to do is to change your strategy. The next thing you want to do is to check what really happened that made this trade lose. And whenever you lose a trade and it hurts you and you go back to check why it lost, trust me, you are going to find something that made that trade lose. Every single time you are always going to find something that made that trade go against you. And that is what is going to start sabotaging your discipline, your consistency, and the results you get from trading. But here is what I did today. When I was seeing that trade going against me, I was like, this thing was paining me. I could feel it in my heart. My heart was beating. I don't want this to go to my stop loss. But when I was in the trade and when it was still going in my direction, though I was having that hope that I should go to my take profits, in my brain I was still telling myself, this is just one trade. This is trading. Anything can happen to this trade. It might sound simple like this, just the way I'm saying it, but it is very important for you as a trader to keep telling yourself these things while you are in a trade, especially when you know that your brain has signed an expectation on that trade. I told myself, this is just one trade, and if this thing will go to stop loss, I would have to accept it and understand that it is normal and it should not try to make me change my system. And that is exactly what I did. And that trade hit my stop loss eventually, and the pain was still there, and in 30 minutes I was able to recover from that loss, and I was no more that pained that much. And right now, this is me making this video, because if I was really pained, and you yourself know, to you who you're not really seeing good results, you're still struggling, you've not overcome this emotional level, you know that once you lose this kind of trade, you lose appetite to so many things. You wouldn't want to eat, you wouldn't want to talk to people. And this is me picking up my camera to make this recording. That is to tell you that I am over this loss. And what can I do? I just have to come back the next time and see what is going to happen. And then after losing that trade, based on my own strategy, I wait for 4-hour candle close, and just after losing the trade, few minutes in, I waited for a 4-hour candle close. I did not see an opportunity, and guess what? I did not force any trade. I did not try to enter another trade to say I should recover that loss and I must get that payout. I did not see a setup, and I'm not taking anything. So there are some things that you need to put in priority to start making you that profitable trader that you're supposed to be. So with this thing now, you can see that it is not just strategy that is making someone profitable. It is your ability to be disciplined. It is the character that you develop in yourself that will make you disciplined. Because every single strategy, you would reach that point where your brain is going to sign an expectation, and if that expectation is not met, you are definitely going to doubt your system and you would want to change it. So that is it for this video. I really appreciate it. Please, if you subscribe to this channel, it is going to motivate me to keep dropping my own experiences here on this channel. I will catch you guys in another video.